What's up, Penwood? Mr. Smythe here. Thank you guys for joining me today for our little meeting here in advisory period. There's just some things we wanted to talk about, some stuff that we're seeing across the building that we want to have a conversation about. And then we have some important building announcements in case you missed the news or whatever. So the first thing that we wanted to talk about is some of the things that we want to focus on here at Penwood Middle School behaviorally. The first thing that if you'll notice if you go through your PBIS lessons this week and advisory that we're focusing on is attendance and kind of being in class on time and traffic in the hallways, right? That's all kind of, we'll call it being in class on time, those things. So first up, we have to be on class on time. We have to be in class on time. And you have to have a pass if you're going to be late. And that's really as simple as we can make it. And what we're seeing is a lot of scholars who are late to class or not in class or don't have a pass, and they have kind of a reason or an excuse, and they get frustrated when they get caught up or they get a consequence because in their eyes, there's a reason for them not being in class. And that's an issue that we'll talk about. That's kind of the second thing that we're noticing. But I do want to talk a little bit more about being in class on time. What being in class on time looks like is when that second bell, that late bell rings, that you are in the classroom. And really, you should just not be just in the classroom. You should be in the classroom kind of getting yourself settled in a seat or getting whatever you need to get for class at that time. When that second bell rings, being anywhere outside of the door is late, even if you're right in front of the door, right? It's like they say in Fast and the Furious, winning's winning, whether it's by an inch or a mile. So being late is late, whether it's you're on the other side of the building or you're right outside the door. So that's kind of the expectation. When that second bell rings, you're in class. And if you're not in class, you have to have a pass. If you know that you have a long travel or that traffic's an issue or something like that, then you need to get a pass, a hall pass from the teacher that you're leaving and carry that with you. And then you can be late. The other thing is, people that have to go to their locker or they're making stops that are somewhat legitimate on their way to class and then they're late. If you need to go to the bathroom or you need to get something from your locker and that's going to make you late to class, you need to go to class first and then get a pass, or get a pass from the class that you're leaving and then take care of what you need to take care of. Okay. Being late to class because you had to do something or you felt you needed to do something is not a valid excuse for being late to class, right? We are going to be doing more hall sweeps this week. They're going to be kind of throughout the day. We're going to do a couple of them every day. We might do, hall sweeps every transition. On some days, we might only do one during transition on one day. So you don't really know when they're going to happen, but we're going to continue to do those. And folks that are continuously caught up in hall sweeps are going to start to and have been receiving punitive consequences, which we don't want to do. And the hall sweep thing ties into what we're doing this month for PBIS, which is two parts. So the first thing that we're doing is our turkey attendance challenge, which again, you'll notice if you'll see the PBIS lessons this week. And how that works is in the cafeteria, we've posted posters for each house, and it's a turkey with no feathers. The goal for each house is to collect a certain number of feathers by the end of next week. And feathers are awarded to the house that, when we do a hall sweep, has 3 or fewer scholars from that house caught in hall sweep. So if you have 3 kids from your house or less than that, or none, which is really the goal, caught in a hall sweep, you get a feather for that hall sweep. Once you have hit your goal with feathers as a house, it unlocks the ability for every advisory class in your house to participate in a dodgeball tournament. And the dodgeball tournament is going to be November 22nd. Which is the last day before parent conferences and Thanksgiving. And we're going to play a tournament where every advisory that has unlocked the ability to participate will participate. And we're going to keep playing through a tournament until we have one winner for the whole building. And that'll be our Patriot Cup winner of the month for the month of November. So if you want to participate in that, it's real simple. You got to be in class. You got to be in class on time. And if you're not, you got to have hall pass, period. We're also doing our November Patriot of the Month certificate winners. A lot of folks saw that we did that last month for October. Shout out to those winners. We're going to be picking one male and female scholar from each house for the month of November to be recognized as our Patriot of the Month for November. So if you're interested in being one of those scholars, it's academic achievement, and it's also, again, meeting our raise expectations, which our focus again this month is being in class on time. The second thing with being in class and getting to class during transitions is the hallways. Part of showing raise is moving through the hallways, meeting our expectations, being on the correct side of the hallway, keeping our hands to ourselves, and not being loud. We're noticing a lot of scholars are doing a better job with keeping their hands to themselves, although we're still not necessarily where we need to be with that. But one of the things we're noticing is still a struggle for a lot of our scholars is the volume of their voice. This is a school, right? Just like if you were in a movie theater or a church or some other religious building, you wouldn't walk through the hallways of that building shouting or yelling or running or squeaking your sneakers, right? That's how we should be acting in a school. There is no reason for you to be yelling in the hallways. People are in class, they're trying to learn, they're trying to focus, they might be taking a test. And if you're in the hallway screaming and yelling, it's disruptive. So again, the expectation is when we're in the hallway, we're keeping our hands to ourselves, we're moving through, getting where we need to be, we're on the correct side of the hallway, and we're monitoring the volume of our voice. And those of us who fail to meet that expectation, again, will progress through our punitive discipline process, which we don't want to see. Also, for the dodgeball tournament at the end of this month, any scholar who gets a suspension in school or out of school in the month of November will be ineligible to participate in that event. So if you really want to take part in the dodgeball tournament and you're a good dodgeball player, don't take yourself out of the game. If your advisory wants to come up with a name for their team, you can submit those to me by November 18th, and we'll make sure that we get your advisory's name on the tournament bracket list. The other thing that I wanted to talk to you guys about is when we make decisions and we do things that we know we necessarily shouldn't do, and the consequences and repercussions that happen as a result of that. One of the things that we're noticing is a lot of scholars are struggling with being accountable for a decision that they make when they didn't intend to cause someone harm or to do something to have a negative outcome, right? So that's like if we're play fighting, like if me and Mr. Denenza are just playing around and I start pushing Mr. Denenza or put my hands on him and he starts to get frustrated, and then we end up actually in like a physical altercation or a fight. I didn't intend to hurt him or cause that outcome to happen, but the decision that I made to start the whole process by doing something I knew I shouldn't do, right? That's what started the chain of events. And so as a result, I'm responsible, right? And so that's something that we need to work together, and we need to understand that our decisions, the choices that we make in any situation throughout the day have consequences. And sometimes we may not mean for something to happen, but if we make a choice, especially if we make a choice that we know we shouldn't make, right? Whether it's for a good reason or whatever, we are then responsible for everything that happens after that, okay? And that we may not like that, we may not agree, but that's the way the world works, right? There are certain things that we can't do, and regardless of why we're doing them, we can't do them, okay? So, if somebody puts their hands on you or if somebody's bothering you, you need to tell an adult. It's not appropriate for you to make a choice to retaliate in a way that you feel is appropriate, right? That's not the way that the school works, and that's not the way that the world works, again, whether we like it or not. So if you have an issue, right, with someone else, an adult, another scholar, you need to involve an adult and make sure that they understand what your situation is and get it resolved the right way within the rules of Penwood Middle School, right? Also with things like being late to class, right, having your phone, whether it's having a phone or a hoodie. Again, we all know, we've talked about this. We shouldn't be wearing hoodies in school. We shouldn't have our phone in class, okay? Whether you're just using your phone to check the time or you feel you need to wear that hoodie because it's cold. These are reasons that do not eliminate the fact that these are rules that we have. Just like if I'm driving my car and I'm late to work and there's a speed limit that says I can't go faster than 25 miles an hour. I can't do 50 miles an hour down that street because I'm late to work. Right? If I get pulled over by a cop and I tell the cop, hey, I'm late for work, it's not like he's going to go, oh, well, forget about it then. You need to get somewhere, right? No, the rule is I can't drive over a certain speed limit, and that's the rule. It doesn't say you can't drive over the speed limit unless you're late or unless you're important or unless you didn't realize you were going that fast, right? That's not the way the world works. That's not the way the school works, right? The rules are the rules, right? And we need to adhere to those rules regardless of whatever we have going on in our personal situation. Obviously, there can be adjustments. There are extenuating circumstances sometimes, but you can't take it upon yourself you cannot give yourself permission to break a rule, right? If you have a situation, you need to talk to an adult and you need to listen to what they say and hear their response. And if it's not the outcome that you would like to hear, that's unfortunate. That's going to happen in life and you need to deal with it. It does not mean that just because, we feel we have a valid reason to not follow a rule or to break a rule, that it's okay to do so. So those are two things that we really wanted to talk to a lot of you guys today about, because those two things are at the heart of some of the issues that we're having. There are some announcements that I wanted to remind you guys of in case you missed the news today. First up, tomorrow is our PBIS lesson today in advisory. Make sure that you guys check that out. We have a really interesting lesson this week. We had a scholar who went through the middle school a couple of years ago, who's now a senior at Penwood High School and is doing really well. She came back to talk to us about, really to talk to you guys about some of the things that she's learned having been in high school and gone through high school, and how high school is different than middle school. And some of the things that she suggests that middle school students should know or should follow. A lot of things that we talked about today that she wanted to come here and share with you guys to help you guys be more successful in middle school and when you get to high school. So make sure you guys check that out tomorrow. Some other things, we wanted to make everyone aware that this Thursday and then next Monday to Friday, the Eagles mobile eye exam trailer is going to be here. So one, if you need to see them to get your eyes checked out, make sure that you have that on your radar. And two, the nurse is not going to be as available as she normally is. Now I know that's frustrating for some of us, but we have to understand, unless it's an emergency, the nurse may not be available. So we shouldn't be asking for a pass to see the nurse. Shouldn't be hanging out around the nurse's office. Shouldn't be like rolling around looking for cups and stuff. She's not going to be as available because she's doing the eye exam. So please take that into account. And obviously, if there's an emergency or you need medication, we'll do what we need to do to make that happen. But just be aware that some of the low level stuff, you might have to be patient. There's also some exciting sports stuff happening. We have our first day of wrestling this week, which takes place today from 3 to 4 in the gym. If you're interested in learning more about the wrestling team or joining the wrestling team, stop by the gym, talk to the coaches, and get some information. It might be something that you're interested in. The wrestling team is it's a really cool sport that I think a lot of our scholars would be into. So check that out. Also, boys basketball. There's a interest meeting Tuesday after school in the library, and workouts for the basketball team are today and tomorrow after school. And for either of those sports, make sure that you have a physical. If you do not have a physical, you have to get one. If you had a physical done, you need to turn it into your coaches, not to any of your teachers, not to the office. It goes to your teacher. So that's just some of the stuff we wanted to make you guys aware of. And remember, be in class on time. Let's keep our hands to ourselves. Let's be a little bit kinder and more respectful to each other. Let's have a great day and an even better week. All right.